Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. coming to you live from Mayfield. And in this video, we're working on that Wednesday warm-up, halfway through the week. Almost there. Again, make sure you're studying for that quiz on Friday. Again, it will cover anything that we've talked about with equations. So, for example, to solve the following equation and check your answer or solution using the Desmos calculator. Alright, so again, you can also, anytime you're faced with an equation, you can bust out those helpful letters for yourself. D, C, M. Again, this means that you distribute. Actually, let me type it in, that way it's a little bit easier to see. So let me put black on as black. So this is distribute. So that's that distributive property. Let's make this clear. There we go. That C stands for combine like terms. And again, the M stands for the multiplicative, or multiply. Let's just say multiply by the inverse. Again, that's just dividing by the coefficient. So again, as long as you have that DCM for yourself, it helps you and it gives you those directions. If you're unsure of the order, always check that nice colorful foldable for yourself. Alright, so according to this, we want to make sure we can use the distributive property first. So we're going to share, meaning distribute that 2 to each of the terms inside the parentheses. So we're going to have it like this. I'm going to say on the outside I have a positive 2x. On the inside of the parentheses I have a positive x, and then I have a negative 2. So again, all we're saying is we're multiplying these two together, and so we would say, alright, this is a positive 2x, and then you would multiply these two together. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit further. So it would be positive 2 times a negative 2, different signs means negative product, and so we have a negative 4. Again, you write these expression, so again, whatever you multiplied to get your products, you're going to write that right underneath of it, and so we have 2x minus 4, everything else stays the same. So again, this whole entire expression stays the same and brings down. Alright, so let's bump this to the side. So we did our distributive property. Now we want to combine like terms. So we look to see, okay, is there any like terms on the same side? So on the left side, we actually make a nice big rectangle. Now we can cross out what we need. Alright, so I'm saying on the left side here, is there any like terms? Well, they don't share a variable because one of the terms is 2x and the other term is negative 4. Again, these are not like terms, so we cannot combine. So we look on the right side of the equation. Same deal. Again, they don't share a variable in common, so we can't work on one side at a time. So now, if you would have your foldable ready, you could see, okay, I have to look for, are there variables on both sides of the equation? Well, yes, there is. And so now we look, okay, since there's variables on both sides, we have a 2x and a negative 3x, which coefficient is lower? So if you think like a thermometer, which is going to be colder, 2 degrees or negative 3 degrees? Since negative 3 degrees is lower, we're going to say, hey, we know that this is lower, so this is the term that we're going to add the opposite to both sides. So what's the opposite of negative 3x? It's going to be positive 3x. and we have to add that to both sides. So I have plus 3x, and I have plus 3x. Again, I can, let's draw that vertical, or excuse me, let's draw that horizontal line, just to be able to break it apart and show it for ourselves. So again, the opposites and the zero pairs cancel out. Your 6x is going to come down, and we're going to have this. We're going to have positive 5x minus 4 equals 6. So again, you can kind of notice that positive 6, since we didn't do anything on that side of the equation, it still comes down. Since we didn't do anything with this negative 4, it still comes down. And so our equation currently is 5x minus 4 equals 6. Alright. Can we combine any like terms? Yes, we can, because we're still trying to get rid of the constants and get them all to one side. So you see, okay, well, I have all the variables on the left, so I want to get all the constants on the right. So how would I get rid of this negative 4? Well, I would add the opposite. What's the opposite of a negative 4? And it should be a positive 4. So I'm going to add a positive 4 to both sides. The 4's cancel out on the left. Let me draw this line again. Copy, paste. And so we have, again, that 5x. Since nothing happened to that, it's still going to come down. On the right side, we're going to have positive 10. So again, we did 6 plus 4 is positive 10. Since we now are good with combined like terms, meaning we have all the variables on the left and all the constants on the right, we can cross that one out. And so now all we're doing is multiplying by the inverse. And what does that mean? That's just dividing by the coefficient. So we see, okay, hey, my coefficient right now is a positive 5. So that's what we're going to divide both sides by to get our answer. Again, this is the simplest step, so make sure that you are very careful with it. Make sure you're saying, hey, this is equal to 1. Again, on the side, 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1, meaning I have 1x equals 2. Always circle your answer, so that way you can be able to check it. To be able to check it, again, you can use back substitution. So anywhere where you had an x, you now would have a 2. Or you can plug it into that Desmos calculator for yourself. So it kind of looks something like this. Let's find it over here. So again, all I need to do is this. Let me scroll this in just a little bit further. And I can zoom as well. That way it's a little bit easier to see. Enhance. Sure. Alright. So we're saying this. We're saying, alright, I want to type in one expression, meaning one side of the equation. I type it in for one line, so I have 2 times the quantity x minus 2. I press enter to start a new line, and then I type in this negative 3x plus 6. So I have negative 3x plus 6. And then I say, okay, my answer was x equals 2, and so I type in x equals 2. Since these two values or these two lines are the same thing, we know our answer is good. So we know this is checked off. Please make sure if you're using back substitution, you're not saying that, hey, my answer is 0. You're saying that x equals 2. Please make sure if you have any questions at any point in time, you can pause, rewind, ask a question for yourself. be able to show that model as well. I know this might be a little bit difficult, but it makes total sense. On the left side, again, we're working with just this. Let me cut and paste, that way we can do one side at a time. Alright, so on the left side, this is what we're working with. We have this group in here, we have x minus 2. So we have a positive x and 2 negatives. And what it's saying is, for this one group here, we actually have 2 of those groups. So I need to have this same thing twice. So let me do another one. Again, if you need to go back and see that distributive property notes, please do. But again, all we're saying is we have our first group, and then we have our second group. Alright, so on the left side I have what? I have 2x and then minus 4. And so let me actually go back to our equation. So I had this, so let me copy and paste. That way you guys can have that in there. Alright, so I'll use that in a second. Alright, so now on the right side of the equation, I'll bring this forward. On the right side equal sign, we have what? We have 3 negative x's, so 1, 2, 3, and then we have 6 positive 1's. Alright, so where are we at? Well, let's see. We should have, and according to our playbook here, we have, and I'm going to put it about right there. Again, we're on this line right here. We have 2x minus 4, so we have 2x minus 4, we have equals, and then negative 3x plus 6. So we know that our model is correct. And so let's do the next step. So we're going to add 3 x's to both sides. So we're going to add 3 positive x's to both sides. Again, that creates that 0 pair on the right side. And we're mainly doing that to be able to cancel it out, which is what we're showing. And so what do we have? Well, we have 5 positive x's on the left and 4 negative 1's. And then we have equals 6. Now we're going to add the opposite again, so we have 4 positive 1's, 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever you do to one side, gotta do to the other. 3 and 4. Again, our 0 pairs cancel out. And so what are we left with? We're left with 5x equals 10. So we have 5 x's that are positive, and we have 10 1's. Again, I can group these into 5 equal groups. Again, that's what we're saying. We're trying to split these 10 into 5 equal groups. So we have, again, 1 at a time. That way our groups are spaced out correctly. And you're trying to see, okay, what does one of those x's equal? So you can kind of circle to show your groups. So I have my first group, my second group. Again, these should all be the same thing, which they are. And so we know that our answer is correct, as it is x equals 2. Be sure to slam that subscribe button. Again, when we hit that 100 subscribers, we'll get that Starburst bag.